I have never once ever worried about a target being too big on my back. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Totally Unacceptable. I'm your host, Ed Clementi, and it is 2025, which means we are about to begin season 2 of this podcast. We got 7 episodes out in 2024, starting in June. And I hope to get a lot more out this year with so many topics to cover. But I want to kick off this season with a bit of imagery. I want you to imagine yourself standing in front of a serene pond, perfectly still. You reach down and you pick up a stone, and you gently toss that stone into the pond. And you watch as ripples emerge. And you watch those ripples extend outward, continuing to extend all the way till they reach the far edges of the pond. To me, this simple act mirrors the essence of leadership. A simple decision, a moment of courage, an inspiring word can create waves of change. That is the power of leadership. With season 2, I wanted to create a bit of a twist to the podcast. If you've been following me and listening to this podcast, you know that this podcast has focused on the totally unacceptable leadership and workplace behaviors. Behaviors like micromanagement, behaviors like workplace gaslighting, and the general manifestation of toxic cultures. But I thought for this season, instead of shining a light on the environment, which I will still do from time to time across this season when and where appropriate, but what if we turn the spotlight inward? What if we focused on the unacceptable behaviors within that are actually holding us back? The choices we make, the fears we have, and the habits that stop us from realizing our full potential. Because let's face it, sometimes the most unacceptable behavior of all is our own behavior, when we are actually making the choice to stand in our own way. And today's episode is foundational. It's a big one because so many people actually make the choice not to embrace leadership. So many people do not make the connection. When I hear about all the concerns, all the pain points, they don't make the connection that perhaps embracing leadership is the answer. I am going to unpack for everyone why leadership many times can be the solution to getting unstuck, to opening up all the doors that so many of you tell me you want opened. I'm going to tell you all up front with brutal honesty. If you've ever sat there and wondered why some people rise faster and some people are earning more and some people are making bigger impacts than you are, many times it's not luck. Many times it's because they stepped into leadership. Maybe you even feel like you're doing just as much work as these other people who are getting these opportunities, who are making more money. Maybe you feel like you're working even harder, but that's not what it's about. You can work harder than anyone in the organization and still not get the promotions and still not get the raises if you're not willing to take on more accountability, to take on leadership. So if you're wondering why, the difference is these people are usually willing to take on more responsibility, to take on leadership positions, to take on accountability. Underline that word, accountability, because I know it's scary. It means you are on the hook. But these people, they're willing to take on that responsibility. They're willing to take on that accountability. Even if, and you ready for this? Listen up. Even if they are not ready. The truth is, leaders make more money. And it comes down to one reason. I like to call it the multiplier effect. They don't just work hard. They solve bigger problems. They amplify everything around them. Their team, their organization, and themselves. They multiply their value. And that multiplier effect, it is the key to unlocking exponential growth in your career, in your income, and in your impact. If you've been following me at all, whether it be on LinkedIn, whether it be listening to this podcast, whether it be my newsletter. If you've been following me, you undoubtedly have heard me say, I believe leadership is the greatest opportunity we will all have to make a meaningful and lasting impact in life. Why do I say this? Here's why. Because if you are reasonably good at your job and you spend any meaningful amount of time doing that job, you are going to gain a level of seniority, which means at some point you are very likely going to be asked to take on more responsibility, to lead, whether you're ready or not. And when that happens, it's an opportunity to amplify your impact, an opportunity to not just impact your organization, but to impact other human beings. And when you invest in that opportunity, when you invest in yourself, even if you're not ready at the time that opportunity comes, and you get better and you get really good at it, and you lead well, not only are you going to feel a level of fulfillment for delivering for your organization, for being meaningfully part of something, which we all want. We all want what we do every day to be meaningful. If you're good at this and you're able to amplify your results, your impact will be meaningful. But the best part of all is when you are leading other people, you get to be part of their growth and their lives. And if you do that well, that's a deeper meaning. That's why I always say, make an impact, feel an impact. And there is some reliable research out there that suggests that many people who are promoted into leadership positions have had no formal training to lead effectively. This creates massive opportunity for those that are willing to embrace it, to do the work to get good at it, to care. It means that when that opportunity comes and you become one of the few people to embrace that opportunity, and then you become one of the even fewer people to invest in that opportunity, your chances of being successful go through the roof. Because you cared to care, you cared to invest, you cared to get up every day and be the best you can for the people that you are leading, for the organization that you are leading for, because you cared to be better every single day. If you do this, you can't help but succeed. So why is it that more people don't embrace leadership or step into leadership? I've heard it all. I'm not ready for that kind of responsibility. I'm already too busy. How could I take on more? Who wants that kind of pressure? And one of my all-time favorites, that will create a bigger target on my back. Listen, let me tell you a harsh truth. There's no safety out there. There's never going to be 100% safety. But why not go for it? Why not maximize your potential while you're there instead of worrying about failing? That last worry, which I have heard a lot, it's an absolute fear of failure. If you're saying to yourself, that's just going to create a bigger target on my back, you have accepted that you're not going to do your job well. The reverse of that is you have much more exposure. And if you do your job well, you're going to get noticed more. You're going to get paid more. Everyone's going to know your value. Why is it scary? Because you're worried you're not going to do your job well. I have never once ever worried about a target being too big on my back. Why? Because I never once worried that I couldn't do my job well. And that doesn't mean that when I stepped into these positions, I was fully prepared. No, we're never fully prepared, but I knew that I was going to do everything necessary to be successful. It would not be for lack of my effort. No way. So I was betting on myself. I cannot imagine going through life, going to work every day, worrying that someone's going to find me out. That's essentially what that is. That's what that means when you say, I'm worried about having a bigger target on my back. You cannot have it both ways. You cannot come and say, I want to make more money, I want to get promoted, I want opportunity, but I also don't want the bigger target. I'm sorry to say that those bigger paychecks, those bigger positions, those bigger promotions, they come with the spotlight. And why do they come with the bigger paychecks? Why? There's fewer people to fill them. One of my old coaches told me once, you want to know what the secret to success is? Be unique. That stuck with me my whole life. You get paid, you get promoted when you differentiate yourself. Leadership is the great differentiator. So imagine if you not only embraced it, but you invested in it. Imagine what you could do. Why am I so passionate about this? Is because it was my secret. Look at where I started. I started from an admin assistant and worked my way up to managing director in a short period of time. It wasn't because I'm some genius. It wasn't because I went to some Ivy League school. It was because I saw where I could differentiate myself. I saw that if I could be a great leader and multiply my results, simplify complex situations, bring people together, I would differentiate myself. And by differentiating myself, I excelled. And then the bonus benefit was I started to realize the impact I was making on other people's lives and how good that made me feel. I fell in love with leadership because not only did it bring me great rewards from a career perspective, but it brought me great rewards inside. This is like the best thing ever. But that target one really irritates me. It's admitting failure. It's admitting that you're not good enough. Stop that. Have faith in yourself. But it's not going to magically happen. You have to do the work. You have to show up. You have to work. And if you don't want to, that's okay. But you cannot complain about not getting opportunities, not getting promoted, not getting paid if you're not willing to do the work, if you're not willing to invest, if you're not willing to take the spotlight, if you're not willing to have the bigger target on your back. You can't complain because those other people, whether they're doing the job well or not, they took the leap. So when you ask yourself, how are they the leader? How are they in the management? Don't think about it like that. Think about it, how can I get there so I can do that job better? If you don't like how someone's doing it, then be so good that people start thinking about, maybe you can do it better and then you get to do it. Otherwise, give them credit for taking the leap. Because again, it's not easy. I am not sitting here and saying leadership is easy. It is very hard. It is a lot of responsibility. It is a lot of accountability, and the buck does stop with you. There is a reason why it comes with all the other rewards that everyone wants. But more often than not, all of these things, I'm not ready. I'm already too busy. Big target on my back. They're excuses because we want to stay comfortable. But the growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And leadership is uncomfortable. Leadership forces growth. If you're not stepping into leadership, you're holding yourself back. And if it turns out that what I believe is true, and most people are likely to land in positions of leadership, then not being ready isn't just failing yourself, it's failing those others that have now been thrust under your leadership. Failing yourself in this way, failing other people in this way, that is unacceptable. It's time to challenge this mindset and take action now. Hey there, I hope you're enjoying this episode. As we stepped into this new year, I was thinking about how I can help as many of you as possible start off with an edge. And honestly, I believe that all starts with self-reflection. That's why I put together the Leadership Scorecard. It's a free 3-minute tool designed to help you reflect and figure out what you need to do to get to where you want to be as a leader. If you're ready to start this year strong, head to the link in the description of this episode and give it a try. All right, let's get back to the show. So let's talk about the multiplier effect. While I would love everyone to just embrace leadership as something that enriches your life on a deeper personal level. From a growth perspective, you grow in ways like you've never imagined. Mentally, emotionally, professionally. From a fulfillment perspective, just the act of inspiring people, uplifting others, unmatched sense of purpose and satisfaction. Leaving a legacy. Leadership positions let you leave lasting impact, shaping lives and organizations and cultures. But there are also many practical benefits to leadership that complement those intrinsic examples. I kind of talked about a lot of this already, but let me just drive it home. Advancement. When you take on leadership positions, it generally accelerates promotions. And let me be clear, taking on leadership positions doesn't necessarily mean promotion. Many times you have to do it before you get it, right? When you take on that responsibility and you do it well, it accelerates promotions. Why? Because they're seeing it in action and they want you to keep doing it. So they don't want to lose you. So they promote you. And by the way, it's easier for them to promote you because they have the evidence versus just going on, well, we think they have the potential to do this stuff. Now you took the responsibility, you took the accountability, you built so much goodwill because you took it on without actually getting the promotion. It will accelerate the promotion process. Financial rewards. It shouldn't be any secret that as you move up the ladder, as you get promoted, as you get more responsibility, as you deliver on that, you will be rewarded more. Your value has gone up. And if you know your value, you can get your value. And then influence. People in leadership position have greater influence. They have a seat at the table. They get to shape things. Leaders solve bigger problems. When something goes wrong, they don't just fix it. They look for the root cause. They implement lasting solutions so it doesn't happen again. That's value. Leaders inspire higher performance. They don't just manage tasks. They empower people to think bigger, to act bolder, and achieve more. That's impact. And leaders drive results that matter. They align their team's effort with the organization's long-term vision and goals so that their work directly contributes to the successes. That is relevance. But here's where the real magic comes in. Great leadership creates a ripple effect, just like the stone we threw in the pond earlier in this episode. How? Leaders create more leaders. Those leaders solve more problems, drive more productivity, and deliver greater results. They empower their teams to take ownership and responsibility, which builds trust and accountability across the board. This allows them to have transformational influence across the entire organization, creating cultures of innovation, resilience, and growth. This, my friends, is what I call the great multiplier effect in action. Amplifying value builds momentum and creates exponential returns, financially and beyond. And when that happens, you guessed it, they multiply their opportunities, they multiply their impact, and they multiply their paycheck. Now, I want to be very clear about something. Leadership should not be solely about the promotions, the paychecks, or the spotlight. If you're doing it for that reason, you're doing it wrong. But I am trying to underscore all the value of leadership, and those are valuable. Let's not kid ourselves. Leadership is about the impact, is about the difference you can make. And like I said before, when you make an impact, you feel an impact deep within. And if you're not sure you can make an impact, I'm going to leave you with one of my favorite quotes from Dr. Seuss. To the world, you may be one person, but to one person, you may be the world. I want you to think about that as you go about your day today. So if you have been waiting for your sign to step up, this is meant to be it. Start small. Look for any opportunity to lead in your current role or position. And when you spot that opportunity, go for it. Take ownership. Bet on yourself. Be the person who shows up, solves problems, and steps into the hard stuff. I hope this is resonating with all of you, but even if it resonates with one, and if it does, and you are ready to get the edge over the rest, let's connect and explore how I can help you on that journey. Let's get you the multiplier effect. Thank you for tuning into this first episode of season 2. And remember, change doesn't happen by chance. Change happens by choice. Leadership is a choice, and the impact you make is up to you. See you next time, everyone.